It's your boy Heaven Hollywood back on IE Network. This is the Heaven Hollywood Report, and let's get to it. We're going to start it off with your girl Cardi B. She was back in court today in California, this time for a different case. And this is for the case with the tattoo artist who was suing Cardi B for $5 million. His name is Kevin Brophy, I believe. Well, what happened was Cardi B put a model on her first album. I believe that was Gangsta B Music, or Volume 1. And she put this model on the cover. He had a tattoo, a big tattoo of a tiger going across his back. Now, what happened is that is Kevin Brophy's tattoo work, and he, that's his tattoo work, and he said it was used without his likeness, was used without his permission. Now, Kevin Brophy, who is white, okay, had the tattoo that the tattoo that he had was superimposed on another male's body, on a male model's body. And Cardi B was not aware that the tattoo that she saw of the male model, in a magazine, she did not know, had no idea that wasn't real. The tattoo looked as though it was real. So what they did was take the tattoo off of the male model that they thought had it, and they put it on a black. Model, superimposed it on his back, so it fit perfectly on the album cover, whatever. And then, later on they found out that this Kevin Brophy's tattoo, it was his likeness, and it got used without his permission. Here's my thing. I feel as though that's an easy win for Cardi B. Because number one, he's saying that people, was going to think it's him, and he's got children. He's a family man, and people have asked him uncomfortable questions because it looks like him. He's the only one with that tattoo, and it looks like him, and yada yada yada, and but he's white, and this model's black. That's the first thing, and then like I said, they had no idea that it was superimposed on another model. So to me, I think there's going to be another case that Cardi. I can't say another case. I mean, she won the Tasha K case. The other case she didn't win. She pled it out, right? And the case before that with the manager, he won 40% of the funds. I think she won 61%. He won like 39%. So, but this one I think is going to be a clear victory for Cardi B. No way of her knowing that the model that she saw in a book, whatever, had a tattoo superimposed on him. So, we'll see what happens with that. She's going to trial over this, and her lawyers believe that in this trial they will be able to prove that she had no idea of knowing that tattoo wasn't real. Moving on to MC Serch and Nas. Now, if you don't know who MC Serch is, he is an old school rapper, a 90s rapper from the group called Third Base. Third Base, both of the guys were white. MC Serch is from Queens. Prime Minister Pete Knight was from Brooklyn. They were both white dudes, but they were definitely for the culture. They had hits called The Gas Face, Step Into the AM, and their last hit was in the 90s, Pop Goes the Weasel. So MC Serch is actually the one who put Nas on. And he actually owned the rights to Illmatic, and it was written. He executive produced both those albums, and I guess he owned the publishing to those albums. So he is selling the rights for Illmatic, and it is written. 27 years he's had the rights to the song. And Nas, especially with his recent, financial, increase, you would never think that 27 years later, especially after his investments really popped off him, that Nas did not own Illmatic, or It Is Written. And that's arguably too. I've heard that when people say, "What's the greatest hip hop album?" a lot of people say it's Illmatic, but I've actually heard a few people say It Was Written was better than Illmatic. So a lot of times people are in talks for those two albums arguably being the greatest hip hop album ever made. And you mean to tell me Nas doesn't own it? MC Serch owns it. MC Serch is Jewish, by the way. Now, MC Serch comes off as a good guy. A lot of people in the industry say he's a very good guy. But then there was a few people, and I'm not going to say a lot, a few people in the industry that says he's a throw a rock and hide your hands kind of person. They said he was doing a lot of underhanded or underhanded stuff when he was in the industry. Like, now, I have no proof of that. That's just, the word that came from a few people. While there was a lot of people who said he was a good guy. Nas obviously thought he was a good guy. I have never heard Nas complain about MC Serch doing him dirty. MC Serch said that Nas owns portions of his publishing, and he made that happen for Nas. I'm going to assume it's true because I've never heard Nas come out and say anything like, "Yeah, Serch, he need to do the right thing, 27 years, he been eating off the God." So I've never heard Nas complain about MC Serch. So I'm going to assume he's been doing okay business. But the funny thing is, as during a time where Kanye West is saying, "They don't own me. That's the problem. They own everybody else. They don't own me." And, MC Serch just comes out of nowhere, who's Jewish, and who, ironically, one of the people who spoke out against Kanye West. And then he comes out and lets everybody know, "I'm selling Nas." You think it was just a coincidence? Could be. Or did he intentionally, being Jewish, and Kanye getting all this, stirring everybody up, like how people are saying nobody owns Kanye and he's his own man. And then here comes a Jewish guy who Kanye made the anti-Semitic comments against. "I'm going to sell the biggest album, probably the greatest hip-hop album ever." A lot of people didn't even know he still had possession of it. Kind of like, you think y'all got the power? Well, we're going to show you once again who's got the real power. Now, maybe I'm reaching, but it's just, the timing of it is just real suspicious. But I have no proof of that. Shout out to MC Serch. And shout out to Nas. Now we're going to close it out with Nicki Minaj, who had an interview with Interview Magazine. But this interview was conducted by Jada Pinkett Smith. Now you can check out the latest issue of Interview Magazine. Here's some of the photos from it. It's there. And Nicki touched on a lot of things. I'm going to break down the full interview on my members only channel. And so Nicki, she spoke on Super Freaky Girl. Okay, that was a topic of discussion. She spoke on how people was perceiving, how she was worried about people, how they perceive Super Freaky Girl. And even though she said she was kind of circling back to channel, old Nicki. And she said that was definitely a point, as I told y'all. She pretty much just confirmed what I've been telling y'all. And that in this new era, she's going to be going back to her roots, which is her first era, Pink Friday, which I told you guys she was doing. You see how I told you that months ago, and now the whole world just gets it now? That's why you're on members only. So she said she wasn't even really trying to be nasty or freaky. She was trying to just be goofy. She said, I'm really goofy. She said, I'm freaky with my husband, but, I'm really kind of a goofy type girl. And also she spoke about, Jada Pinkett asked her about the condition of hip hop now. And she basically said she wished there was more singing in it. She also says that hip hop's in a different place. Back in the day, she was into Jay-Z. She was into Lil Kim. She did shout out Lil Kim. She said Foxy Brown, Lil Kim, Lauryn Hill. Sorry for the sirens, guys. Of course, every time I'm making a video. And she said that everybody then had their own sound. She said that's what's missing from hip-hop now, from rap now. Everybody sounds like everybody. No one has their own sound. But back then, everyone had a distinctive sound. So I'm going to break down the entire interview and give you some tea on members only. It's your boy Heaven Hollywood for the IE Network. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share this video with your friends.